In our first story, police in the central region have arrested a 28-year-old man for defiling a 6-year-old girl at a Defiling in the central region. The suspect, Michael Ayiri, covered the mouth of the 6-year-old with a cloth to prevent her from screaming and cleaned her in after the incidents. The community folks effected the arrest of the suspect after the 6-year-old and her mother went to lodge a complaint to the police. Here's Richard Kwejunyako's report.
So this is the Dumfa town where a 6-year-old girl has been allegedly defiled.
I was washing my cloth and he made me enter the door through the window. They came looking for me and they said I wasn't around. He ordered me to lie down and he slept on me. He covered my mouth with a cloth so I couldn't shout. When he finished, he used a towel to clean my private parts.
We are in the house in which the incident actually took place. And this is the very window the victim was made to pass through in entering this room for the act to take place. We are told by the victim that the suspect entered through the door and then made her enter through the window. We visited the room and then the room is in a very sorry state. We saw a mattress that is not covered by a blanket or any bed sheet. The victim also tells us that after the act, the suspect cleaned the mess after the act with a towel. So whatever liquid or semen that came, the suspect used a towel in cleaning it. But the victim and the mother went to the police station to report and a form was issued. They've been to the hospital and it's been ascertained and verified. Now the matter is in the hands of the police. They've brought the suspect and the suspect is standing right beside me, and there is a narration of actually what took place by the victim. The suspect is currently in handcuffs. The police say they are almost ready with the dockets and investigations are almost concluded. And on Tuesday, they will go to the Cape Coast courts to press charges against him. So we wait for Tuesday when what the courts will say. I've got DSP John Paul Akonde to throw more light on it.
So what you gathered is the same. I mean, we are handling a case of a defilement which was reported to our office somewhere Friday around 1:25 exactly. And then a family suspected of one other family member whom they said had defiled a lady of 6 years old. So they lodged a complaint to our office. But what we are supposed to do, they were issued with a medical form for them to go to hospital and then submit an endorsed report from the doctor for further action. I think the report came earlier when we had almost closed, and we're making efforts to contact the complainant and any other person who had information to help us get to the suspect. But fortunately on our part, we had an information that the family themselves, those people who lodged a complaint, had gathered courage and have arrested the gentleman and brought him before court, and brought him to the police. So as I speak to you, he is before our cells. He's been detained at our place and assisting with investigation. Investigation is almost complete. We've done almost all the things that we are supposed to do. He has been cautioned and he will be charged on the substantive offense, which is defilement. And tomorrow we'll be wrapping up with the final issues, and when we finish, he will surely be arraigned before the circuit court in Cape Coast, latest by Tuesday.
You're hearing that. I mean, this is not the first time this man has been doing that. I know that some of them have not even come to your attention. Are you also hearing the same?
Yes, we've heard the same, but unfortunately when issues doesn't come to our, more especially on issues of defilement, you need an expert, which is a medical report to support those. But we've said that they suspect him of similar offences, but it has not gotten to our turn. But what we have now is a defilement case which we are handling, and per the evidence that we have now suggests that it has taken place, which we will be proceeding to court, like I said earlier on.
role you played
Abeku Adams was partly raised from this community.
We are told that
he played a great role in effecting the arrest of the suspect by mobilizing the youth in this community.
Yeah, it's true. I came just when I alighted from the trotro, which brought me. That's when I heard shouting at the entrance of the house by one of the aunties or the defied lady, the girl who was defied. The auntie was screaming, and the guy was also challenging her. But and an interesting part was that the girl's short, I mean, the pant was still down, and the guy was still holding his trousers. The scene was quite very, very obvious. So I quickly switched on my phone's video and recorded. And I gave money to the lady to take the girl to the hospital, to the police station to lodge complaint, and subsequently take her to the hospital for a report to be procured. Then two hours later, I had a call from her that the hospital was demanding 300 cedis before the report would be given. So I rushed back there and took over. That if that's the case, then I should take over and take care of all the expenses that will come. So I paid all the money throughout the process and got a report done for the girl. Then it got to a point, it got to the stage where we had to get the police to come and effect arrest because we had procured the medical report, which clearly indicated there was some level of sexual violation of the girl. But then the police was reluctant because the excuse was that the CID to whom the issue was reported to the previous day was no longer, was absent in that material moment. So we had to wait and wait. When there was, I asked them, if something like this happened and the CID is absent, do you have a hierarchy of officers who can step in and say, no, there's no senior officer here who could give us orders to go and effect arrest? So I said, okay, then I will activate the section 12 of the Criminal Procedure Act 1960, which empowers every citizen.
A prison officer has been arrested at the gates of the maximum security prison at Ankafo after he attempted to smuggle in dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp concealed in a mosquito repellent container into the prison. He was arrested around 7:50 p.m. while reporting for night duty. Public Relations Officer of the Ankafo prisons, DSP Daniel Macheto, has been speaking to my colleague Richard Kojanyako.
So this is the Ankafo Maximum Security Prisons. It is the biggest prison facility in the country. We hear that there is a prison officer who attempted sending dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp, and the person has been apprehended. We are joined by the PRO of the Prison Authority in the Central Region, DSP Daniel Macheto.
Yesterday around 7:50 in the evening, officers were reporting for night shift, which is supposed to begin at 8 o'clock. So the routine is that when you get to the gate of the facility, every officer is searched to ensure that you are not entering the facility with any contraband. So the searching process began. When it got to this officer's tent, he's an assistant chief officer. His name I can't disclose for now because of security reasons. When he got to his tent, the officer doing the search realized he had with him a mosquito repellent. And so he wanted to be sure that it was really mosquito repellent. So he picked the cream and pressed it and realized that it was very solid. And he thought that a mosquito repellent shouldn't be that solid. So the gates officers decided that they should cut open the container to see what actually was in it. And lo and behold, when they cut it open, they found that dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp has been stuffed into the container. So we started our service procedures. He was issued with papers, statement papers to write his version of what had happened. This morning we continued with our service procedures, after which we invited the Elmina police to carry on with the investigation. So as I speak, we've handed him over to the police and they are continuing with investigations to that effect.
So after the investigations, what really happens? The person would be hauled before court?
Normally, our service procedures is activated. So it is possible that the service will first of all dismiss him or take disciplinary action against him for the offense he's committed, because no prison officer is supposed to bring in or out of the prison any item without the consent of the officer in charge of the facility. So that is exactly what he has done. He has contravened certain sections of our regulations. So he will be punished in that line when he's found guilty. Then the normal procedures of the land, because if it is confirmed that what he had in his possession was actually Indian hemp, then the right procedures will be activated. He will go through the court system if he is sentenced to whichever sentence he's going to serve it. I think you remember one officer just last year, was sentenced to 13 years imprisonment for hauling substances which were confirmed to be Indian hemp into the facility. So that is how the procedure is. He will first be dealt with by the service, and then the state will also take any other action that is required.
Isn't it intriguing that this is a prison officer, the person who is expected to even put people in check in terms of some of these things, and the person himself being found culpable of such acts?
It is actually very unfortunate, because this is an officer who has been trained, gone through all the regimes. He has served for close to 23 years, and so he should have known better. Every Thursday, we hold staff debates where we reiterate service regulations to them. We make them understand that we are here as officers to help to reform the image so that they can easily reintegrate into society. So if officers who are supposed to be carrying out this mandate is bringing contrabands to inmates, it defeats the purpose for which we were actually established.
Are we really safe?
Oh, we are safe, because over the years, we have had reports. In fact, you have been here on some occasions where some officers were apprehended, where civilians have been apprehended for attempting to smuggle certain contrabands into the facility. That aside, the prison service, in fact, the prison system, occasionally we do searches, unannounced searches in inmate cells, and we do our best to rid their environment of all illicit items. And in a current article I published, you saw all the things we retrieve from their possession. So Ghana is safe. We are doing our work to the best of our ability, and that is why recalcitrant officers such as these are not shielded. Anytime they commit any crimes against the prison system, against the laws of Ghana, we quickly ensure that they are dealt with accordingly. So Ghana is safe. We are doing our best. There are very excellent prison officers who are doing their best in helping to reform these inmates. And that is why some of them come into the society as changed individuals. So Ghana is very safe.
So that was DSP Daniel Machato actually explaining to us the circumstances leading to an officer of the prison service attempting to send in dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp, and as he explains, he will be taken through the procedures as far as the prison service is concerned, and then they will take it off from there. From the Anchor for Maximum Security Prisons, my name is Richard Kwejonya reporting.
Now, First Deputy Speaker of Parliament Joseph Osei-Owusu has defended the commemoration of the Constitution Day at the time the bill is still in Parliament. This follows concerns about the smartness of the decision by government to declare January 7 as Constitution Day while the bill is yet to be passed. He spoke earlier on Newsdesk. Can you first of all explain to us how come today is a holiday when we still have a bill on this matter pending before Parliament?
Okay, a bill is a bill. It's not a law yet. If it goes through the processes and Parliament approves it by vote, then it becomes a law. The intent was to amend the Public Holidays Act by that bill to include this day. Now, when it came to Parliament, the committee in Parliament that is supposed to critically examine and advise the House decided to do a public hearing. So at the time Parliament was adjourning, the report had not come before the House to go through the motion to determine whether it will pass or not. However, the power to declare a holiday is also available to the President through executive instrument, which is another legal process. And so while awaiting the passage of the bill, the President considered it important that we start today. And so the President, by executive instrument, declared today a public holiday. That is the legal process by which it was declared a public holiday.
Mr. Joseph Osei, can you explain to us again why Parliament thought it was important to have a public hearing on this matter?
Well, it is part of our process that matters which we think, or the House thinks, that public input may be necessary. And indeed, it is a practice that most often we advertise that this bill is before this particular committee. So if anybody is interested, you have within 10, 21 days to bring your input into the consideration. So we engage the public in that respect, and this is one of the methods which the committee adopted. The 7th January is not the only day proposed. There are other days proposed.
There's a 4th August as well.
Yes.
Okay.
But the committee considered that public input would be necessary.
So my point is that this is not a process that has concluded yet, and today has been declared a public holiday. So I'm thinking it's because of the importance of the subject. That's why you want everybody essentially to have a say on it. But yet the president has gone ahead to declare the day as a public holiday. Doesn't it conflict with the work ultimately of Parliament, the essence of the public hearing, if you like?
Not at all. Once the bill is passed, it becomes permanent. You don't need to declare it every day. It's part of the law, so it is observed as a matter of law. But until it is passed, if the president had not used his executive power to declare this a holiday, today would not have been a holiday. It probably would defeat the purpose for which the president was today to be observed as a public holiday. So it is part of the legal processes permissible in the country which the president resorted to.
Now, still to come in business, Ghana Amalgamated Trust assures of its commitment to assisting local banks in their restructuring process in addition to their recapitalization efforts. And elsewhere, 4 persons arrested in Gabon for plotting a military coup d'etat. Stay with us. We'll come back with the details. Thanks for staying with us. Now, one person is feared dead after he was knocked down at Oponglo near the University of Ghana Sunday evening. The victim, believed to be in his late 20s and a worker at the Legon poolside, was said to be crossing the road to campus when a speeding taxi from Medina ran into him, killing him instantly. Eyewitnesses say the driver of the taxi absconded immediately after the accident. Personnel from the Ghana Police Service arrived at the scene a few minutes after the incident and took the body to the hospital. The mangled taxi has since been towed from the middle of the road. Now here's an eyewitness, Amanda, who sells pork at the Oponglo bus stop.
And then I'll no so and then Suma Babimo, Akomia, and I'm so Akomia, and Tion Fanon Betinasio, Minchin was, and I see Manunam 7 city, and I'm man, no, we and I see. Pama miska na misi debi, obema misi 7 cedi, and no mammy 10 cedi, and a man 3 cedi. And I see all call when I'm so. I didn't think that your contents are no so, and your pentamaco, Juma. See me dinner or mitinano, no tray more, first one, no cordina, second one, metia accident, I see. Now Miss Mitton, I didn't know I'm so because any papa will require no, no, down or down. But me name me fee, me name baby. No, and then over to I mean, that's a 2 months in the cry, busy, girl, bit on Satewa, and also can't no suborn, son of Mudu 237. I mean, he says, it says, to a bar now, say, or that's who hospital. He says, a moon, yet to be found. First time, power.
And that's an eyewitness recounting how the victim, the gentleman who was knocked down yesterday, dying on the spot, had purchased pork from him just that evening before the incident occurred. Here's a security guard at one of the shops at the Oponglo intersection who is calling for an overhead bridge to be constructed close to the traffic light to reduce the carnage on the road.
Even right now, it is clear there. Fail brake. After this accident, the car knocked somebody, kill him right now. This Kia failed brake, and you drive from the other side into this side. The car parked there.
So what can be done to reduce?
Here we need overhead for the students. It's not only the students, witness, and here is pastor. So every student that is coming from school, from home, when you reach here, have to stop. Because the main gate not all cars are passing there. All cars are passing there. So here, all cars are passing. So all the taxi drivers here, they pick the students and enter. And those where they don't have money to take taxi, and the taxi is, unless you cross the road, go the top there before you get a taxi. You understand? No taxi here going to the campus. So unless you cross the road and go and take taxi. So here always we see many things.
So what have you done?
We need overhead for this. We need overhead. The government have to help us. Because if we sit and say, I don't care, if you are a citizen, maybe your own brother will die one day. Yes. So government have to do something urgently because this thing is too bad.
All right, stay with us. When we come back in business, Amalgamated Trust is sharing details of how they intend helping the local banks to recapitalize.